Somehow it's a racist statement to talk about family and education.
Here's what's so interesting, though. So I lived in Washington from the age of 15 until now, and it's a half-black city, and it's got the same numbers as every other inner city. You know, a lot of affluent black families, but the majority live in the conditions we used to call inner city blight, you know, where like no one has a father. Everyone thought this was like specific to a culture, right? Rural America now has the same problems. Where do the problems come from? Well, part of them comes from a really simple fact. When men make less than women, women don't want to marry them. Families are not formed. There's a ton of social science on this. Women don't, there's many exceptions to this, obviously, but in general, over big populations, women do not want to marry men who make less or who are shorter. And so when men overall make less than women, I know the goal is to make sure that women make more than men, but when that actually happens, as it has in a lot of parts of rural America, it's true in inner city black America in a lot of places, in most places, you don't get marriage. You still get kids being born because people are driven to procreate, but the families are not formed. And then the cycle begins with like utterly predictable results. So it's actually not a race thing in a lot of ways.
Well, it's not a race thing. Almost as if you took the same theory and brought it to the animal kingdom.
Yes.
Any group, I don't care what the different species is, if the dad left,
yes.
the cubs would not do well, or the offspring would not do well. It's a nature thing. It's not a sociological thing or a political thing.
But what
it's
if you had a whole party whose success was like based on the existence of single moms with kids? Where actually a huge part of the electoral base was broken families. Like you had to have those families broken in order to win elections. You would have a huge incentive to continue this garbage and to wreck your whole country. That's not all that's going on, but that's part of it. When was the last time you heard I'm not being, there are a lot of Democrats like in real life care about this issue and they're good people. But among the political class and the Democratic Party, when was the last time you heard someone say, all things being equal, many exceptions, of course, but in general, it's better to have kids, especially boys, grow up with a biological father at home. Can they say they cannot say that? They're not allowed to say that, even though there's no dispute about it. Among anyone who looks at it for 5 minutes at the numbers, there's no dispute. They cannot say that. What does that tell you?
Oh, listen, every time I get into it with these people, I go, look, all things being equal, better to be raised with the mother and the father than the two moms or the two dads or the single mom. And they go, I know a woman named Sharon.
Right.
She's single.
Exactly.
She lives in Plentywood, Montana. She raised 3 kids. They're all doctors. She did it alone. She did it off and on with her partner, Joan. It's like, I'm not saying there's not a person.
Of course not.
By the way, intellectually, you have announced you're an imbecile if I say all things being equal, and then you quote me specific cases where it worked out one time.
Exactly.
It's the most disingenuous argument anyone can ever make. I'm never sure how they can keep a straight face when they're talking to someone like you or someone like me who understands what's going on. This notion of you're a nutritionist and you go, look, diet and exercise, that's the key to looking good in your trunks. And I go, I know this guy.
Exactly.
He eats funnel cake.
My grandmother smoked till she was 80 and she was fine.
Yeah, soaked in vermouth. And he looks fantastic around the pool. Like, okay, that's that one guy and his crazy genetics. Now, can we get back to...
Exactly. Talking about the country? Yeah.